Hi, I'm Dr. Christy Harvell. I am the owner of Health by Design, and I'm a chiropractor, clinical nutritionist, and kinesiologist. And today I'm going to talk to you about sugar. In our office, we talk about sugar with our patients all the time. And what I hope to convey to you today is that sugar, similar to inflammation or stress, can be linked to almost every major killer in America. So that's one of the major topics that we like to focus on. So I'm going to start in with a little bit of an example demonstration. So I'm going to share my screen here with you. So if we take this simple triangle, what you'll see is that there are symptoms at the top of the screen. And down below we have nutritional deficiencies and organ dysfunction. So what we know is that all three legs of this triangle are interconnected. So what that means is no matter what symptom you're having, you might have some kind of nutritional deficiency related to it, and that's causing some kind of organ dysfunction. What that means is that it doesn't matter what your symptom is, we already know that there's something missing in the body, so some kind of critical nutrient is missing. And the reason we eat is to give our organs nutrition, to feed our organs. So that's what the triangle means. No matter how bad your organs are screaming at you, that means that there's more nutritional deficiencies and the symptoms are going to get worse. So the reason it's on a triangle is because every leg of the triangle equally relates to the other legs. And if you change the symptom, the nutrient, or the organ dysfunction, it's going to relate to every single other thing on the screen here. So what if we change the word symptom to the word sugar, for example? Sugar, when we consume it, causes nutritional deficiencies. And when we have nutritional deficiencies, as we've already discussed, our organs start to not function optimally. They start to get weak. So you guys have all heard that adage, garbage in, garbage out, or you are what you eat. So that's true. If you put nutritional deficiency foods in, foods that are high in calories and low in nutrients, you get garbage out, meaning that your organs don't use those nutrients as well as they could, and then your symptoms get worse. So in our office, something that we have our patients do often is take a quiz. So I'm going to pull that up and we're going to go through the questions together. So here's a sugar quiz that we use in the office. This work was done by Dr. Nancy Appleton. Her book was called Lick the Sugar Habit, and she studied the effects of sugar more extensively than any other doctor that I've ever read on. So what we do is we just simply answer true or false. So the first question is, I do not eat refined sugar every day. So just in your head or on a little piece of paper, keep track of how many trues and how many falses you have. Second question is, I can go for more than a day without eating some type of sugar-containing food. True or false? Number 3, I never have cravings for sugar, coffee, chocolate, peanut butter, or alcohol. True or false? Number 4, I've never hidden candy or other sweets around my home in order to find and eat them later. True or false? Number 5, I can stop after eating one piece of candy or one bite of pastry. True or false? Number 6, there are times when I have no sugar of any kind in my home. True or false? Number 7, I can go for 3 or more hours without eating and not experience the shakes, fatigue, perspiration, irritability, depression, or anxiety. True or false? Number 8, I can have candy and other sweets in my home and not eat them. True or false? Number 9, I do not eat something sweet after each meal. True or false? Number 10, I rarely drink coffee and eat donuts or sweet rolls for breakfast. True or false? Number 11, I can go for more than an hour after waking up in the morning without eating. True or false? Last question is, I can go for one day to the next without drinking a sweetened soft drink. True or false? So I'll give you a minute to add up your numbers of falses. And what that means is if you answered false to more than 4 of the statements, chances are you were probably sugar sensitive, if not sugar addicted. So what that means is sugar is just as addictive as alcohol. So if you have sugar, you temporarily feel better. What it means is the more sugar you have, the more you need, the more you require of it to reach the same effects. That means the more you have, the more you have to have. You'll feel better for a short time, but then the effects wear off and you'll have to require more of the drug or substance, in this case sugar, in order to feel better. And what it also means is that you might realize that sugar isn't the best choice for you, however you perpetuate the habit and have it anyway. If you didn't have more than 4 falses, give yourself a pat on the back, but I'm still going to provide plenty of evidence for you to slowly start your breakup with sugar. So following Dr. Nancy Appleton's work, what we have on this screen is 143 reasons why sugar is ruining your health. So in her research, she showed that sugar has been linked to every major killer and disease known to Americans. So what you'll see on here is heart disease, diabetes, cancer, hormonal issues, lack of attention and behavior issues, especially in children. They're all on here. But what I did highlight are some of the major findings related to heart disease and diabetes. So for example, let's look at number 9. Sugar can produce a significant rise in triglycerides. So triglycerides are part of your blood labs, your cholesterol panel that are linked to heart disease risk. Number 27, sugar can lead to obesity. So obesity is a major problem with America today. Number 34, sugar can cause heart disease. Number 44, sugar can increase cholesterol. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next slide, because a lot of people think that fat is what causes your cholesterol and triglycerides to increase, but it's not true. Sugar has more of an effect on your cholesterol than eating fat, especially if it's good quality fats. And we'll go into more detail on that in a little bit. Number 48, sugar can contribute to diabetes. So diabetes is an inability to control your blood sugar. Number 58, sugar can produce an elevation of LDL. So there's LDLs and HDLs in your cholesterol panel, and LDLs are the bad cholesterol. And 123 over on the right-hand side, sugar can cause metabolic syndrome. So metabolic syndrome is a precursor to diabetes. So even if your blood sugars are normal and they haven't yet diagnosed diabetes, metabolic syndrome is a number of different conditions that lead up to diabetes. So we like to find it early so that we can be preventative. So there you have it, 143 reasons why you can slowly break up with sugar so that your symptoms will decrease, but more importantly than your symptoms decreasing, that your organs can be healthy and you can experience optimal health. So let's get into some of the details about why sugar is linked to some of those major killers in America. The effects of sugar in the body is, number 1, that increases inflammation. So all of research, regardless of who did it, kind of is in agreement that inflammation, stress, those are what are linked to every single disease in America. So if sugar is linked to inflammation, then sugar is therefore linked to disease. Some of the reasons behind that is because sugar causes mineral imbalances. So here's some fun statistics. For the body to digest just one sugar molecule, it requires 56 molecules of magnesium. So magnesium is critical to bone formation, healthy muscle, nerve, and immune function, as well as healthy heart rhythms. So if you're eating sugar, you're stealing magnesium, for example, from these other important systems in the body. Sugar is a known immunosuppressant. So when you eat sugar or drink a soda, it can suppress your immune system for up to 48 hours later. Sugar also is known to feed infectious organisms in the body. So things like fungus or yeast, bacteria, viruses, and parasites, they feed off of sugar. So one thing you could do to protect your immune system is to eat a diet low in carbohydrates. Fat doesn't make you fat, sugar does. Let's dive into that a little bit more, because we've been talking about the link between sugar and obesity, or sugar and cholesterol levels. And there's some myths here that are beyond what is common knowledge. So primitive diets, if you think of our ancestors, they used to eat at least 4 times the calcium and other minerals that we now get, and they ate 10 times the amount of fat-soluble vitamins because they ate diets high in animal fat, right? They were hunters and gatherers. So fat isn't bad. Our ancestors, before we knew what heart disease, cancer, before we knew what autoimmune disease, autism, or food allergies even existed, that's what we tell people is instead of going with what's trendy or popular, go with what has always worked. So a traditional type of diet or what our primitive ancestors have eaten. Body fat, first of all, is produced in the liver, and it's actually produced from glucose. So those are known biochemical facts. Saturated fats, such as coconut oil or raw butter and animal fat, will help you burn fat and are protective for the heart. So we've always been taught that fat is bad for your heart, especially saturated fats. So that's kind of become a misconception that new science and new nutrition is disproving, because what has happened over time is that as the food pyramid has promoted healthy grains and a low-fat diet, we've actually seen an increase in diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. So people got smart and started looking at that. And so it's not saturated fat that's making us unhealthy, it's the grains and the increase in carbohydrate diets. So if you did answer 4 falses or more, how do you overcome your addiction to sugar? Because we know it is addictive. Keeping a food journal, we definitely suggest to do that. Writing it down brings attention to it, and increases your awareness, and it'll allow you to start decreasing the amount of sugar slowly. So we don't want you to go cutthroat or cold turkey, because that will increase your sugar cravings. So in order to break up with sugar long term, you want to do it slow and gradually. Number 2 is don't buy products with sugar in them. So our ancestors only ate in a year what Americans now consume in an entire day in sugar consumption. So that doesn't mean that Americans are just eating 220 pounds of white raw sugar. Sugar is hidden in many of the common products that you're buying without knowing it. So in another lecture, Reading Labels, we talk about how to become a smart consumer and understand where some of that sugar is hiding from, because what we're concerned about is the overall cumulative effect of carbohydrate or sugar in the diet, not just tablespoons of added white sugar. Number 3, eating more protein, so foods, healthy lean meats, nuts and seeds, and healthy fats will actually help balance your blood sugar levels and keep you satisfied longer. So if you eat more of those high carbohydrate snacks, they don't satisfy you because you burn sugar a lot faster. So you eat them, and then within an hour, you're hungry again. And also, if you don't maintain your blood sugar with these proteins and fats throughout the day, all of a sudden it kind of catches up with you, and you'll have that low blood sugar slump in the mid-afternoon. And at that point, you haven't planned or prepared properly, and you'll just grab anything. And usually the body's looking for some kind of quick fuel burning at that point, and it's usually carbohydrate that you'll go for. So planning ahead and having some of these proteins and fats, you know, on hand will prevent you from making the wrong decisions. Keeping in line with trying to keep your blood sugar levels balanced, not skipping meals. So we like patients to graze throughout the day. So 3 healthy meals with plenty of snacks with proteins and fats throughout the day. And also keep in mind that the more active you are, the more you have to keep that blood sugar balanced. Reading labels, so sugar can be hidden under all different names. The data that's here, if you just yourself do a quick Google search for alternative names for sugar, you're going to see these things come up. Anything with corn syrup or corn sweetener, that increases blood sugar and leads to diabetes. And then even some of the ones that are considered healthy, like people say, oh, I use honey, or I use agave, or I use cane juice. While that's true that those are better choices, they still amount to sugar. So the unfortunate news is that the body doesn't necessarily know the difference between good sugar and bad sugar. So if you added up all your carbohydrate intake for the day, that all breaks down into sugar. in the liver, as we previously discussed. So everybody's different what their carbohydrate tolerance is. If you have any of the chronic disease conditions that we listed in the 143 reasons, then you definitely want to be more strict with your sugar consumption. In rare cases, we also need to decrease sweets from fruit and vegetables. So some of your more carb or starchy vegetables have more carbohydrate or sugars in them. So sometimes we even need to be cautious on the amount of potatoes, for example, or sweet potatoes or beets. We also talk with patients about eating fruits that are lower in carbohydrate value, like your berries. Berries and citrus tend to be better. So you can read through this list and just become a better consumer. These are words that you can kind of look for when you're shopping. Avoiding GMO products as well is important. So if it doesn't say that it's non-GMO and it doesn't say that it's organic, then you can pretty much assume that corn, soy, wheat, and rice in your foods are genetically modified. The reason that's important is because they have not been studied for safety in human consumption. So we don't yet know what the dangerous effects of eating those foods would be. And our 10 top tips for reducing sugar. We went over some of these, but I'd like to put it right here in a big list in front of you. Again, something to refer back to. Eat breakfast. So you need to break the fast, unless you're doing some kind of intermittent fasting, which you can discuss with your doctor or nutritionist individually. Don't skip meals. Eat frequent snacks throughout the day with plenty of healthy proteins and fats. Eating good saturated fats like avocado, olives, or olive oil, or coconut oils. If you're craving sugar, it would be better for you to have fruits instead of some kind of higher carbohydrate or processed or grain-related food. Take a walk. Sometimes just getting your mind off it. If you are craving something, we say go do something else and get your mind off of it. Call a friend. So accountability is key. If you have somebody who you're doing a health program with, that's always going to help you. Use sweet leaf stevia. So stevia is an herb that is naturally sweet. It actually does not increase your blood sugar levels. So while you're starting to decrease the amount of sugar in your diet, stevia is a real good, healthy alternative. We just caution not to overdo it, because what you really want to do is retrain your brain and retrain your taste buds to not get used to or constantly look for the sweet taste. Make your own healthy desserts. So you can look up any alternative recipe. So say chocolate chip cookies. If you simply put the word keto or paleo in front of one of your favorite desserts, you'll come up with alternative ways to make those things using almond flour or coconut flour and stevia and some of these alternative sweeteners. And of course, you would want to use those in moderation. Another healthy dessert idea is look up fat bombs, and you'll come up with a whole bunch of different recipes from the ketogenic world, and those would be great healthy snacks to keep your blood sugar balanced throughout the day, and they're delicious. You can make them in all different flavors. Definitely prepare and have snacks handy. You want to have fruit and veggies cut up ahead of time, nuts and seeds in your back pocket that you can pull out if you aren't, somewhere where you can grab a full meal right away. Make sure that you plan ahead so that you don't just go and grab the quickest thing, because convenience foods tend to be high in carbohydrates. Nutritional and herbal support can also help overcome cravings. So if you really do have some kind of hormonal imbalance or metabolic syndrome in process, it might be worth getting with a nutritionist to discuss some specific options and support for your body. That's all we have for today. Hopefully we inspired you to start looking at sugar, become a better consumer. Some of this information might be daunting. I realize that sometimes in order to be motivated to make changes, we have to be shaken up a little bit and be made to feel uncomfortable. Thing to know is that you don't have to make all these changes all at once. Every time we present, we always tell patients we love to have you go over this information. This is something that you can print the handout. Stephanie's going to make that available for all of you. And just pick maybe two of the top things that would be the easiest for you to change right away. And once you've changed those, come back to the list and take a look and see if there's another 2 things that you can go after. That's all we have. Signing off for today, Dr. Christy Harvell.